back with another one. Jay, we are back with another Hidden Takes episode 2. Today's date is November 17th, 2021. And as usual, viewer discretion is advised because if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. And today we cooking up a lot. So let's get right to it, Jay. How you feeling today, man? We got a little, and a lot of things to talk about, man. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. I'm happy to see you as always, and I'm ready to talk about some basketball, man. Because oh boy, did we see some great basketball this week, and especially last night. So Jay, go ahead and kick it off for us, and let's talk about we whatever you lead it, Jay. Let's talk about what game you want to talk about.
Yeah. Let's get it right into it. I'm glad you're ready to talk about some ball, and let's talk about the headliner game, the game that everyone had marked down on their calendars, the game between two MVP favorites, and that man, you know who he is, Kevin Durant and Wardell Stephen Curry II. So let's talk about that game in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center. Prime time, 7:30 Eastern time start on NBA TNT. So Jay, tell me a little bit about what you saw from the current best team in the league, NBA, the Golden State Warriors, and what some would consider to that night before the second best team in the Brooklyn Nets. Tell me a little about what you saw last night. I mean, that was a crazy game, a lot to unpack.
Definitely, Jay. A lot to unpack, man. But let's go ahead and start on the Warriors end of things, man. I think the first thing I noticed like throughout the game is how great of a job the Warriors were doing scoring the ball off Nets turnovers, right? So the Warriors had 25 points off the Nets turnover compared to the Nets 10 points off the Warriors turnover. That was the first thing that I noticed off rip. We know as basketball players the last thing you want to do is be turning the ball over, but you could turn the ball over and the other team converts that into a bucket, man. That is how you either lose leads quick, or that's how you gain a really big lead, man. And another thing I noticed, Jay, was just the Nets, in the first half just could not keep up. Well, all game really couldn't keep up with the Warriors' pace of play, man. The Warriors have an extremely fast pace of play, and it just the whole time it didn't seem like the Nets were going to be able to keep up with them. And I throughout the first quarter, the second quarter, I thought to myself several times, like, man, it's only in due time that the Nets just start making some mistakes and the Warriors start running off with this one. And exactly what I thought is exactly what happened. There came that third quarter, the Warriors kept their pace, kept it pushing. The Nets couldn't keep up, man. The Warriors outscored the Nets 35-18 in that third quarter. Just extremely impressive, Jay. But before I go on, talk to me a little bit about what you saw in the what you got from the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna start. Yeah, you highlighted a lot of things. I'm gonna start calling them the third quarter Warriors. I mean, just from the tip, I just saw a determined Stephen Curry, leading that bunch, leading. We always talk about the head of the snake, and then you were mentioning on the last episode, the head of the snake, and then the body will follow. The rest of the troops will follow. He set that tone early on in the game. As well as Draymond Green, that they came ready to play. I felt like that championship kind of energy, that finals energy. Whereas on the Brooklyn side of things, I know they're missing Joe Harris, obviously Kyrie out, but I mean, so were the Warriors, missing Clay, missing Wiseman, and the Warriors just from the tip just seemed like they wanted it more than the Nets. But it was definitely, like you mentioned, a tale of two halves. And I mentioned like the third quarter Warriors because that's been the trend that they've had, all season, is in that third quarter, they're just dominating teams. That's when they're extending the lead. They led by, I believe, 5 or 6 points, after that huge Wiggins three. But I mean, no, I saw a lot, Jay, and a lot of it was Stephen Curry. I know he had an off game against, Steph had an off game against Charlotte, at Charlotte. What did he have that bounce back game? And that was really what I was looking for. And boy, did he deliver on the biggest stage. 12 for 19, 9 for 14 from the field, from the 3-point line. Just doing it all, assists, energy, locking up James Harden for one possession there. That sticks out to in my mind. Steals, blocks. Can't say enough about him. But then I just look at, talk about the role players performing, coming in, doing what they need to do on the Warrior side of things. Jonathan Kuminga coming in, playing his role, as well as Wiggins, huge game from him, and then Jordan Poole, and then the list goes on from there. And then on the Brooklyn side of things, just to highlight them real quick, Jay, I just saw a team who just looked really disjointed. A team, number one, credit to Steve Kerr and his game plan that he implemented there with that triangle and two. I mean, my goodness, that really just halted what the Nets could do. But it really showed them missing Joe Harris, who obviously they replaced him with Patty Mills, but I don't think that's a similar player. I mean, you can't really, what Joe Harris brings to the team is kind of unspoken and underrated. So they definitely missed him having that extra shooter out there on the floor. But yeah, I won't go on too long about that. That's just some things I highlighted from there without going too deep into the stats, Jay. But we can talk a little bit more about this game, man. It was wild from the onset, though.
That game was wild, Jay, and you mentioned the role players, and I want to talk about my guy Wiggs, man. Very impressive game from him, man. Like we've come to see that Andrew Wiggins is the Canadian Mamba that people made him out to be, man. But he's really started to find himself a role and really be a role player. I mean, like in this game, he had 19 points, shot 63% from the field and shot 67% from three. In my opinion, you love to see that out of your third and fourth option. Like sometimes you're looking for your second option, and if that's your third to fourth option, man, I think that's a very impressive game, and hope that he can continue that role. And then just to talk a little bit about the Nets too, like how you did, Jay. I wouldn't like one thing that is crazy. Is like Kevin Durant, he did not have a good game. He had a season low game, right? But the crazy thing is, right, KD, these great players, like no matter what, they're having bad game or good game, like they still get to their shots. They still get to their spots, right? Like KD right now is averaging 18 shots per game. In this game, he took 19, only made 6. But what I wanted to highlight was just the amount of bodies KD saw. He saw GP the second. He saw Iggy. He saw Wiggins. He saw Draymond. It was just an endless matchup being thrown at KD. And, great players like KD, Steph, LeBron's, the Giannis's, you can't guard them one-on-one. You got to throw bodies at them, man. So I definitely think that not only did the Warriors just do a great job, but I think the rest of the league needs to look into that and say, man, this is how we're gonna have to stop these players, man. Because players like KD, you can't try to go one-on-one with them. Even if you put a PJ Tucker or these defensive specialists, you need multiple bodies to throw at these guys to wear them out, man. But yeah, Jay. So what you got anything else to add to that game?
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of it is being a star in your role. A lot of the NBA, for a team to be successful, you got to be a star in your role, even if you're a role player. And I think in terms of Andrew Wiggins, we're kind of seeing him. I think all along, like obviously he has a skill to be a superstar, but I think that's just not in him. And he likes being kind of in the role, and he's been thriving, these past few games for the Warriors. And if that continues, man, I think they're going to be a very scary team. Jay, having talked about, the Jazz and the Warriors and the Nets game, a little bit more about this. And kind of, we were going back and forth about, the Warriors can they maintain this throughout the season? Not only that, will they be a playoff team, but kind of seeing, obviously being 12-2 now with this record, and kind of, playing a few strength of schedule games, the Bulls, the Clippers, and the Lakers, obviously, and then you can say the Hornets twice. Our question to you is, are what you've seen to this point, 14 games in, are the Warriors for real after seeing the display last night? And kind of just tell me a little bit more about what you're seeing from the Warriors.
Absolutely, man. I mean, the Warriors are for real. That's something that people need to understand. They have a for real star in Stephen Curry that every team needs to succeed in today's NBA. They have a for real bunch of role players that know their role and are able to execute it. They have a great coach. So as far as if the Warriors are for real, like absolutely. I don't know if I can put all my money into saying that the Warriors are going to be able to stay this dominant and stay best team in the league and top team in the league, only because as the season goes through, man, this is a very long season, a lot of ups and downs in the season, and I just don't know if the they have some great role players, but I feel like if Stephen Curry was out, it would be a bit of a problem. Because I know Jordan Poole and other players step up great, but the thing to me is they do that because a lot of the defensive attention is on Stephen Curry. So it makes it a bit, a bit easier. And that's just with any player. You got such a great player. The defense the gravity goes to the greatest player, right? So other players get, open shots. So to answer your question, are they for real? Absolutely. Am I ready to put my money down on the line that they're going to stay with the best record in the league at the end of the season? I don't think so. Well, what about you, Jay?
I think, yeah, no, I think they're for real. I think they're legitimate championship contenders. And if you add Clay into the mix, that's, with Clay, obviously, I don't think personally they're going to rely too much on James Wiseman when he comes back. I think it's going to be a bit of adjustment period. And I talked about that last episode, Jay. But I think they're not going to rely on him. He's going to work his way into the rotation, eventually maybe starting at some point down the line. But just the way that role players are stepping up, Kuminga, his emergence, Looney's been playing at a high level as well, doing what he does, being a star in his role as of late. But I think they're a contender. I definitely have seen enough right to this point to not. And obviously, like you mentioned, or you talked about, with a star being out, obviously a team's not going to be the same, especially the caliber player of Curry, and the Lakers losing LeBron to this point for all that amount of time. Any team's going to be, not as good or perform to that level. So that's my only thing that I have to say on that. But yeah, no, I just wanted to get what you're saying on that, Jay, and kind of your thoughts about where the Warriors are at right now. And then in terms of, just real quick about the Nets, how are you feeling about them? With Kyrie recruiting James Harden and KD, actually KD first and then Harden, not even being able to play. And they're kind of, if you look at their schedule to this point, they don't really have quality wins, other than, against below 500. A lot of their teams, they played the Bulls, they lost to them. They played other teams and other contenders and they've lost to them. But how are you feeling about the Nets to this point?
The first two things I want to say about the Nets is one, I heard Shaq talk about this. He says that on a championship team, everyone has to sacrifice from the top to the bottom. Everyone has to sacrifice something. And Kyrie Irving, I get it. Speaking up for, the people with not a voice and doing this and doing that. I get it, man. But you need to, if the Nets came together on the bearing and on the reasoning of, okay, it's going to be James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant, not Kevin Durant and James Harden. They might have still teamed up, but it was a definite yes, because the three of them were all in, right? And they were all bought in. And now, the coronavirus hits, all this hits, and now Kyrie Irving refuses to take the shot. In my opinion, he needs to sacrifice his ego, sacrifice whatever he's feeling, and take the shot, because the Nets are better with Kyrie Irving there. So as far as that, that's how I feel. But and as far as the Nets team, I really think, I know some people may think this is crazy, but I think that the Nets thought this was going to be easier than it actually is. I think that they thought they were just going to roll right through people, and because they have James Harden, one of the greatest scorers in this generation, Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers in every generation, Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie's not playing, and then all these other role players, Blake, a washed superstar, but now he's playing a blue collared worker now. You know what I'm saying? Doing that. So I just think that the Nets thought this would be a lot easier than it is, and I think that now they're getting punched in the face, and it's going to take them a minute to realize it. And I think that now they're like, all right, well, this isn't going to be as easy as we thought. What do you think about them?
They got that blue collar crew going, man. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to buy into that. Just he's knowing the star level that BG comes from. But yeah, no, Jay, I'm right there with you. I think that they, I had the Nets a little higher. Obviously, I had them as my first seed in the East. But I just think that as far as how far the Nets will go, I just truly believe, Kevin Durant is one of the best players in the league on any given day, whoever he goes up against. So I think that he can take them as far as he wants to go, especially in the East. Is there's a lot of emerging teams, but I still think the West is better at the top. And I think that as far as how far they can go is the performance of KD. Obviously, he didn't perform last night, and then Harden as well, because he's been off to a slower start to his standards, but he'll pick it up as well. And then they just get how to continue to develop those role players, and then I think they'll be fine and be able to stay towards the top of the East. But yeah, no, that's just another question. I just want to highlight both of those teams who are kind of at the top of the division right now. But let's move it forward. Let's keep it pushing to the next game of the NBA TNT doubleheader, and that was the Philadelphia 76ers and the Utah Jazz in Utah. Tell me your thoughts on that game, Dre.
Man, just an overall dominant performance from the Jazz, man. In the second quarter and the third quarter, the Utah Jazz outscored the Philadelphia 76ers by 15 or more points, man. I mean, as the 76ers, you just cannot be letting that happen, man, And then really, from when I say dominant overall performance from top to bottom, man, the Jazz bench came out and scored a combined 50 points, man, which is ridiculous, coming from your bench. I mean, your starters were working, the role players were working, the bench players were working. And the 76ers really it looked like they just struggled to get stops on defense out there, man. Like when Andre Drummond wasn't in there, it was a nightmare. They had no matchup for
Hey, Jay, not to cut you off, brother, but you bring up the defense, and my question to you is, hey, who would help with their perimeter defense is getting stops? And we talked about it on the last show.
He would. Ben Simmons would help him, but he would hurt their offense so much more, in my opinion.
But my pushback on that is they shot 36% last night.
They had 20% from three. Absolutely terrible game.
Obviously, they shot but if you look back to last year when they played the Jazz, Ben Simmons had one of his best games of the season. Obviously, Joel Embiid was out last night as well as that. But no, I just wanted to see how you're feeling about, is the Ben Simmons, are they a better team without him?
I'm still on the other side, Jay. Okay, I'm still getting the hell out of here.
I just had to do a temperature check on that, Jay. Okay. All right.
But yeah, Jay. So man, like they had no answers for Hassan Whiteside and Rudy Gobert when Andre Drummond wasn't in there, man, and just really like that's all as far as on the Sixers side. But the Jazz, man, it just was overall great performance. Rudy Gobert had 4 blocks that he got in the game, got them all in the first half. And you just saw like his defensive presence made all Sixers players just think so much more, And if you could even get a player to hesitate, to even think about coming into the paint, you already won the battle, man. You already got him beat. Right at the start of the second quarter, the Jazz came out and really punched the 76ers in the mouth, man, got a 14-0 run on them. And then after that, man, it was really downhill for them, man. Like how you said, Jay, just Sixers couldn't buy a bucket, dog. Like they couldn't buy a bucket. They shot 36% from the field and 20% from three, which is just terrible, which is horrendous. And Shake Milton, my guy, I picked him up for fantasy. Shake, he led the team with 18 points. So that shouldn't be who's leading your team. He's a great player. That shouldn't be who's leading your team in scoring, man. But what are some takeaways that you got from that game, Jay?
Yeah, there's not much to talk about in this game besides what you said, Jay. I mean, there was just a dominant performance from a Utah Jazz who I had predicted at the top of the West in our preseason rankings, and just it goes to show, like, you can't put too much weight into the plus minus or have whatever you want to say for that, but everyone was plus. That just goes to show you. And then you look at the Philly roster, everyone was minus. So just an overall just slapping on that side of things in that game, and not much really to talk about other than they need Joel Embiid to come back, and they just really got to figure out that Ben Simmons situation, man. They need a lot of times. Last night, Reggie Miller was talking about it. They got to trade him. They got to find a way. If it was like the Portland situation, if they want to ship him to Portland, get CJ McCollum, because things aren't working out there, and I don't see anything changing. And we talked about it on the last episode, but not much to talk about on that end. Philly just needs some help, whatever they need just a change of scenery. Get Ben Simmons out of there. And then Utah just showing they're a top team in the West, breaking that 2-game losing streak in a very, very strong way. So yeah, Jay, let's shift forward to the next game, Suns and the Wolves. Let's talk. Tell me about your thoughts about that game, Jay, and what you saw in that game.
Wow, man, that was a crazy game. Very down. It came very close down to the wire. Great game. DeAndre Ayton, 22 points, 12 rebounds. Devin Booker, 29 points on 43% from the field and 50% from three. And that's great. But that's not who I want to talk about. I want to talk about that man that you posted the other day on the Instagram. He said, you said true to it, not new to it. Okay. CP3. I want to give him a shout out, man. He had 21 points, 8 assists, but that's like, okay, he had 21 points. He scored the least out of all those guys, but that's not what I'm talking. I want to talk about the fact that in the fourth quarter, he scored 19 points. The Suns really needed a closer in that. He scored the majority of his points in the fourth quarter, and the Suns really needed a closer. And he showed up, man. He showed up big time and he really did what vets did, man. And just to highlight on the Wolves side, just D'Angelo Russell really just like kind of really let me down that game. Honestly, in my opinion, he lost him the game. He had 22 points, shot 33% from the field. He's 7 of 21. But what's really most horrendous is he shot 10% from three. He shot 10 threes and made one. But the crazy thing is, Jay, that's not even the worst part. To me, the worst part is that Karl Anthony Towns, who was having a great game, he was feasting, 35 points, 13 rebounds, 52% from the field, 55% from deep, 90% from the free throw line. D'Lo did not feed him at the end of the game. D'Lo tried to take those late shots himself, knowing he's not feeling it, man. And that right there is the true signs of a bad point guard, a selfish point guard. And honestly, Jay, I was very high when D'Lo came into the league, for obvious reasons, he was Lakers or whatever. But even when he shipped off, I really liked him. I was like, man, he could be a floor general. He could be a point guard. But if this is how he's going to continue to play, man, I'm taking my D'Lo hype out, man. I got a D'Lo jersey over there. I might throw it away.
Yeah, Jay. I mean, I always thought that D'Lo, being a Warrior fan, seeing what he does on the nights he's going, he's got it going. He's a very streaky scorer, but when he's going, man, is he on? He's cooking. He's in his bag with his herky jerky, slow style of play. But then, a question I had to you is there was a lot of this chatter, Jay, and this chatter was about the Suns having a plug and play. I even talked about it on our last episode, was a plug and play center, that they don't really need DeAndre Ayton. The Suns are maybe better off not giving him that max contract. But my drawback on that is after the performance he put up against the Suns, against the Timberwolves and what he did. And then just his track record and what he's done before that. Like, do you believe that hype of the Suns not needing him, or they're not a better team without DeAndre Ayton?
Nah, I don't believe the hype. I think they don't need DeAndre Ayton, but I think they're a better team with DeAndre Ayton. Man, he showed his dominance not only in this game, but last year in the playoffs as he faced several talented bigs, man, and he was out there doing his thing, holding his own, and he showed that he could be a versatile big in this league. Young guy too, man. So I think the Suns would be crazy to let him walk. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, no, I think they're just a better team with him. I don't think he's ever going to be the star or the focal point of the offense, but I think he's great in his role. Just being a star in your role is, like I said, to any successful team, a player's got to be a star in his role. And I think he's starting to accept that and, know what he needs to do with the help of guys like direction of CP3 and D Book. But, talking about that, Jay, is just making me think, what are you feeling about the Suns right now? You think they got another finals appearance in them? You thinking they're contenders in the West, or what are you thinking? How's the temperature on the Suns right now?
I mean, on the Suns. Oh, I didn't even catch that. Okay, Jay. Honestly, Jay, on the Suns, and I'm almost confident they won't have the run that they had last year. You play who's in front of you. I'm not taking absolutely nothing away from them, but it's a fact of the matter. Almost every series they faced a depleted team. which is I'm not taking anything away from you, but now that teams are healthy, I don't think that they're going to be able to have that deep of a finals run. I definitely see them making the playoffs. They're and I think it's second round exit. In my opinion, at best, man. I just don't see if they face another healthy team. I don't see them being able to go that deep. But what about you, Jay? What's your temperature?
Yeah, no, I'm not feeling them as a team who's making it back to the finals. I think they obviously last season, obviously you need fortune and good luck on the way to a championship run or to, getting to the finals at least. And I think they just got a lot of luck. One first round. We can get into it, obviously, with the Lakers on so on and so forth. But yeah, no, I'm not feeling and I'm not high on what the Suns can do this season. But Jay, let's talk. Speaking of the Lakers, let's have a discussion about your Los Angeles Lakers, man. We saw what happened against the Bulls, which to me was, a very tough, embarrassing performance against the Bulls. AD, I had talked about it to just a lot of friends. I don't think we had a chance to actually talk about this game yet, but I just thought at a point he just wanted to get ejected from that game. He was so frustrated, and rightfully so. But let's talk about the Lakers. Like, are you feeling, is it time to hit the panic button for the Lakers, man? How are you feeling? What's the temperature from the Lakers expert and like faithful himself, Jay? How are you feeling about that?
Jay, well, thank you. I'll take it. But Jay, I don't think it's yet time to hit the panic button. And this is why. LeBron James, the glue of the team, the guy, he hasn't been in there. He hasn't been playing throughout this absolute embarrassing stretch. When he was playing, it was, he was getting the momentum going with Westbrook and AD. And then he went out with these injuries, right? So, and then this embarrassing stretch started for the Lakers, with just losing games to teams that they just simply should not be losing leads, letting players just blow right by them. And I think that if LeBron was in there, he's definitely a glue that brings all that together, brings the team together, especially on the court. So I don't think it's time to hit the panic button, but there has to be a huge asterisk with this. It's not time to say, okay, well, LeBron comes back and we're good. That's not it. There's tons of tweaks that need to be made on defense, but my sole reason to answer your question, if we're going to hit the panic button, not yet, because LeBron is not back and LeBron isn't there. If LeBron was there and this is how we're playing, I'd be smacking the panic button like that.
Yeah.
But how about you, Jay? What are you feeling?
There's just a few things. I think number one, missing LeBron James, any team's not going to be the same. But here's my thing. I think that my concern was always Russell Westbrook, man. Like, would he be the right fit? And I think they're starting to see, losing all those guys to the Wizards, all those role players, especially as well as Alex Caruso to the Bulls, who we saw, give that whole, the bald eagle, whatever you want to call him, Caruso, the famed Laker himself. Losing those secondary pieces has been looking crucial to them. Even a guy like Dennis Schroeder, a scorer, has looked kind of more effective, in my opinion, in his role than Westbrook and what we've seen. I think a lot of times people get caught up in, the box scores, the stats, but I think in terms of a player like Westbrook, the stats have always been there. But my concern is, number one, his IQ at times. He's obviously one of the most athletic players to ever play the game. I'm not doubting that. He's a great player when he wants to be at times. But I'm just saying, in terms of a fit for the Lakers, I'm still not sold on it. That was always my concern before. AD, if he's healthy, one of the best in the game. LeBron, we know what he does. But they just got a lot of things to work out. And I think right now, here's the panic room, to use a metaphor. Here's the panic room. Inside is the panic button. There's a door to get into that panic room, Jay. I think the Lakers are right out on the door, kind of just like, hey, we might have to go in here and hit that panic button soon. But we gotta give it time. I think, we're only about 15, 14 games in the season. LeBron hasn't been there. We're talking about 15, 20 games and see where they're at. If something doesn't change and not playing at the level that we all thought before the season, including myself, they could play at, then they gotta slap that panic button. But for now, nah, I'm not too worried about it. Concerned, not worried. Okay, let's shift it to the next team, the reigning champions. I got a question for you about them, the Milwaukee Bucks, sitting as the 11th seed, not even in the playing game right now, Jay, at 6-8. Obviously, they've had injuries to, Drew Holiday to begin the season. Chris Middleton has been out with COVID protocol, and actually had COVID and is getting back into conditioning. Giannis has missed some games through injury. Brooke Lopez hasn't been healthy, as you know, on your fantasy team, Jay.
Jesus Christ.
You've been battling a lot of injuries, my guy. But yeah, how are you feeling about the Bucks sitting at the 11th seed? Definitely not what any of us had expected to this point. Is it time for them to hit the panic button?
I think that they're like a little bit like right, like behind, but next to the Lakers and like ready to open up the door. Okay. But it's not time to hit the panic button just yet. And because of the reason that you listed, Drew being out, Drew just actually came back, and now he's got to get himself going, got to find himself. Chris Middleton, getting COVID and now being out with the protocols like that makes it tough. And Brooke Lopez with the back injury, the man's only played the first game of the season and hasn't played since then. And, when you look at Drew, Chris, and Brooke, that's the majority of their offense, right? But besides excluding Giannis, of course, that's the majority of their offense and defense, to be honest, because Brooke is such a great rim protection, and Drew is such a good perimeter defender, man. So that's why I think that it's not yet time to hit that button. But I do want to say this, though. I don't think the Bucks should be expecting a deep title run like they had last year, because their team, in my opinion, got significantly worse, right? Like signing Simeon Ojale and letting PJ Tucker walk, like that's cents on a dollar, in my opinion. Like that's cents on a dollar. So I just think that they're not going to reach that finals like how they did last year. And because just like the Suns, they face some pretty depleted teams as well. And they got, again, you play who's in front of you, but I just don't think that they should be expecting that deep of a title run. But I mean, to use your metaphor, Jay, they're right there with the Lakers. They're right there like, hey, should we open the door right now?
Yeah. Nah, I mean, Jay, yeah, I'm right on there with you. Like, you look at the teams who are in front of them, the Cavaliers, to name the Hornets, the Knicks, even the Celtics. Those are teams who, just out of the 10 teams in front of them, even the Raptors, 10 teams that I don't think are going to finish ahead of them once they got at least, semi decently healthy roster. So I'm really not ready for them to jump right into that panic room, that famed panic room with the Lakers yet. So let's see them. Yeah, let's give them that 10-game, 15-game window after this to see where they're at. But yeah, just wanted to see your thoughts on those two contenders that we all had before the season. But let's get into my next question for you, Jay, which is, who is your way too early coach of the year pick, and why? Tell me like a little bit about the team, why you have them, and what coach kind of comes to mind when you think of that question.
Okay, I got two, and I'm having a hard time choosing between the two. So I'm gonna just tell you both of them, and you let me know which one you kind of feeling more. So first, I got the Wizards coach, Wes Unseld Jr. Man, I think he's doing a great job, man, because not only did nobody expected the Wizards to be sitting at the top of the East, 15 games into the season, but like a real reason why I really want to have him as the coach of the year is because like it's not like their roster is extremely talented. It's not like their roster is like, wow, we're just head over heels, head and shoulders above everyone. I just, that's not what it is. I don't even think they have a better roster than the Bulls, who sit in the second seed. I don't think they have a better roster than. I definitely don't think they have a better roster than the Nets. I don't think they have a better roster than the Heat. The Cavs, they have a better roster than the Cavs. I wouldn't say the Knicks. I think the Knicks have a better roster than them. I think when the 76ers are healthy, they have a better roster than them. So to me, what that shows for them to be there is that coaching. right? It's coaching. I'm not taking no credit away from the players. The players are hooping, man. The players are doing their thing, playing together as a team. But I think that a lot has to do with the coaching, man. The coaches implemented the right systems and implemented the right plays that he thinks that is going to work for his team. So that's who I got as one of my options. And my second option, so I got that guy over there in the biggity Bay Area, Steve Kerr, man, because right now he's got the Warriors leading the entire league in assists. He's got the Warriors ranked 5th in fastest pace right now in the entire league. And the thing about style is, right, like the players, they could do what they do out there, but styles, coaches implement that. Coaches look up and down their roster and look at, okay, what are my players' strengths? What are my player weaknesses? Every coach except Luke Walton does that, but they do that and they decide, okay, how should we play this game? And I think that Steve Kerr is looked at his roster and said, okay, my team is fast. We're gonna play with this fast tempo. But then he has them leading the league in assists. And yes, the players are out there throwing the pass, but I promise you, Steve Kerr has drawn up so many plays and has so many plays just at practice and going on in the huddle that he's telling to these players, man. And it takes a great coach to be able to spot your team's strengths and weaknesses and use it to your strength and to be having your entire team leading the league in assists. But who you got, Jay? I think I know who you got.
Jay, man, I had one person in mind, but now that you gave me both of those great options and you kind of just explained the debate and the reason for both, I'm just kind of torn between the two. But right now I'd give the edge. If today we're choosing, hypothetically, today we're choosing, I would give it to Steve Kerr just because, like you mentioned, all those things, he's putting them in positions to win with the talent. We've seen them come from the worst team in the league 2 years ago to almost making the playoffs, being in the playing game, obviously losing to the Grizzlies, and then now being the best team in the league, playing at such a high level. Like you mentioned, all those stats, the 3rd ranked offense in the league, the 1st ranked defense, throwing, different strategies, different game plans, triangle and 2, junk defenses, the continued ball movement, cuts, just all this continuity that we're seeing from his team and the high level that they're operating at has been optimal, and the reason I give it to. But if I could do a co-coach of the year with Wes Unseld, taking over that roster from Scott Brooks and just making them a contender right now, this early in the season, I absolutely know. We're talking about today, if we're choosing an award, man, it'd be him, Steve, and then Wes is like right under him, man. But that's just who I got. And I just wanted to feel out like who we got, because it's obviously way too early to decide any of that. But so now we talked about the good coaches, but let's shift it to kind of the good with the bad, and who you got on the hot seats for the coaches. Like, who's the first coach that comes to mind? Our first few coaches who are on the hot seat of getting fired and being out the door with their organization.
Man, first one it's been on my mind for the last couple of years. He should have been fired. Luke Walton. I don't know what he is doing in Sacramento. He has the fastest player in the NBA in De'Aaron Fox and decides to run a half-court set almost every single time down court. He has 3 point guards in Tyrese Haliburton, Davion Mitchell, and De'Aaron Fox, which I heard there's some chemistry issues going on over there. And as a coach, you need to get that hashed out. You need to get that fixed out. And honestly, his lineups are just – they don't really make sense. I seen this clip the other day that came out with Marvin Bagley literally refusing to go in the game. Like, he waved off. Luke Walton called him and he waved it off. And like, as a coach, not only do you need to nip that at the bud, but you can't have your players that unhappy, man. So they're just gonna literally say no to you subbing them in, man. And the crazy thing is, Jay, this is for years due, man. Like, for probably like 2 years, he should have been gone out of Sacramento. I don't have any other coach, to be real, besides him, because that was just right when I seen that question, Jay. Jay shared the script with me, and I'm like, okay, I see that question. Boom, first one I filled out. Luke Walton, get him out of here. Yeah, no, I mean,
I agree 100%. Luke Walton has been on the hot seat for what feels like years now. I'm just waiting to see that update, that Woj report, seeing the Sacramento Kings have parted ways with Luke Walton, because I never want to be the type to, we don't want to be the type of guys to go for ask for anyone's job to be taken. But I mean, at a certain point, like Sacramento, what are we doing? Like, you got some talent to be successful, at least kind of middle of the pack to play in game conversation. I mean, you're right there now, but I think he's lost them games that they should have won. They're 6-8, sitting at 6-8 in the 10th seed right now. I think they could be at least, 7-7 or 8-6, flip those two games. And I think, yeah, just like you said, his rotations, what he's doing, man, it's easily Luke Walton. I was going to say Steven Silas too, but I mean, they've got young talent there that they were already knowing that they're going to develop. Luke Walton's in much more of a hot seat. So, and I can't see any other teams, really hot firing their coach right now.
I think it's you could put it on paper, you could put it on wax. If they don't make the play-in, he's getting fired because he's already on a hot seat. If he doesn't make the play-in with that team, man, that's a problem. That is a problem, Jay.
Yeah, no, it's true. The play-in, I had them, I believe, right there in the play-in game conversation competing. So he's got to do it or he's gone. I think he's got to like maybe the All-Star break, maybe even sooner till he's out the door, because I just think everyone's questioning it. You'll see people questioning it, but you just got to watch the game. The proof is in the pudding. This guy is kind of clueless when it comes to his rotations, giving Alex Len more time or Tristan Thompson more time than Richaun Holmes. I don't know, man. I just really don't know, but we don't get too caught up on that, man. Let's shift it to kind of a fun question. And off the top of your head, Jay, who is, like, got to get too in depth with it. Who is your top 5 all time, starting lineup? Starting 5 lineup. And this could be, disclaimer, this is not your top 5 of all time. This is who anyone in the world challenges to a game of 5. You're coaching. Who you got as your top 5, your starting lineup? Of any all-time players, who you got, Jay? Who's your starting 5?
I like that.
And it's positionless. Positionless basketball. Just going with the theme of today's game, which is really, positionless basketball. So, what you got in your top 5?
At my starting 1, I'm gonna have that boy LB James. I gotta have LeBron
at the 1.
Okay. At the one. Okay. LeBron is a great point guard. At the 2, I'm gonna, of course, have to put the everyone's proclaimed GOAT, Michael Jordan. I put Michael Jordan at the 2. Great 2. At the 3, I gotta run that boy Easy Money Sniper KD, man. At the 4, I have to run Timmy, all fundamentals. Ooh. And at the 5, I gotta have Big Diesel. Shaq for the dominance. Let me hear yours, Jay.
Jeez. Wait, who'd you have at the 2?
At the 2, I had Jordan.
Okay. So we were pretty similar, Jay. Besides we on the 1. So at the 1, I got the GOAT shooter of all time, Stephen Curry. No surprises there. At the 2, I have the GOAT, in my opinion, Michael Jordan. At the 3, I got the Slim Reaper, or the Easy Money Sniper, whatever you want to call it, Jay. Kevin Durant, you know who he is. And we agreed on the last 2, though. I got Tim Duncan at the 4, Timmy D, and then I got Shaq, the Diesel, at the 5. Just because, and disclaimer, this obviously isn't my top 5. This is just my lineup of who I think would succeed just based on, their skills, their qualities, and what they bring to the game of overall lineup. So that's who I got in terms of mix. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, for all the fans, if you guys are, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, wherever, man, if you're on YouTube, comment down below whose team do you think would win a game? Game 7, my team versus Jay's team. Jay, just go ahead and shout your team out real quick so the people don't gotta rewind one more time. Say your team.
Yeah, Steph, MJ, KD, Tim Duncan, and the Diesel Shaq. Who you got? Okay.
I got LeBron, I got Michael Jordan, I got KD, I got Tim Duncan, and I got Shaq, man. So for all the fans, man, make sure you comment down below and comment down below your all-time starting lineup that you would have. All right, Jay. I like that question, Jay. Changing things up a bit. Okay.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
boy, my boy. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's what's up, man. So, all right, Jay. So, as we close out here, what we always like to do is we like to talk about the games for the following day, which is gonna be Thursday, November 18th. First game that we got of the night, Jay. We got your Warriors going against the Cavs. Who you got on that one, brother?
I got I got the Warriors, bro. Especially the Cavs are, a dangerous team, especially on their home court. So I'm not taking anything away. I know any team is going to give the Warriors their best game on any given night, but with Evan Mobley missing, I think the Cavs are really going to be hurting. He's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks is what they're saying. So I think, yeah, definitely Warriors with that in that game. Who you got?
Jay, I think you disrespect my boy Ricky Rubio, Jay. No, I'm just kidding. Hell no. I got the Warriors on that one too.
Rubio's a boy.
All right, here we go. Next game on the night is we have the 10-3 Washington Wizards versus the hot Miami Heat.
Man, I have to give the edge to the Wizards just at the level they're playing at right now. Don't know the health of, Jimmy Butler or Bam. They're all game time decisions, and they've been, Jimmy's been out for a few games. Bam's just battling that knee soreness. I know this because he's on my fantasy team, but obviously we're just up to date on news. So now I got the Wizards just to continue that run of success. And yeah, that's who I got. Who you got, Jay?
I got the Wizards too, man. These game time decisions is not those don't make me feel too secure, man.
Nah.
All right, Jay. So the next game is we got the Memphis Grizzlies versus the Los Angeles Clippers. What you got on that one?
I got the Clippers. They've been playing at a pretty high level as well. Paul George putting together an MVP race, MVP numbers himself. He's making a claim for it. So yeah, I got the Clippers in that one.
Okay, I got to go with the Grizzlies on this one, Jay. I think my boy Ja Morant is tired of losing. They got out to this hot start, man, and it's kind of slowed up now, and they're at a 7-7 record. So I think that Ja's tired of this losing, man. So I'm going to Grizzlies on that one. Next game we got the San Antonio Spurs versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Wow, what a bad game.
Shout out my boy Cat. Cat. I think man, that's a bad bull. That's the bad bull. But two young teams, but I'm gonna give the edge to the T-Wolves in that with their three. I think we're starting to see Ant as the alpha, as I predicted before. Cat's kind of taking a back seat to them. But what you got, Jay? You got
I got the Timberwolves, man. With Cat, Ant, and I'm not even gonna mention D'Lo's name anymore. So with Cat and Ant, I think they got it, Jay.
Malik Beasley.
Malik Beasley, yeah, come on, man. All right, so next game we got, Jay, is the 76ers versus the Denver Nuggets. That's gonna be a good game, Jay.
Yeah. You said it. I'm gonna go with the Nuggets in that one. Just because the Joker, Joker and the head of the snake, the rest follows. I just love the way that the Nuggets play off of him as kind of just their point center, point forward, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Jay, I got to go with the Nuggets too. If Andre Drummond and the 76ers couldn't handle Hassan Whiteside and Rudy Gobert, can you imagine how they're going to do with the reigning MVP and Nikola Jokic, man? So I got to go with Nuggets on that one, man.
Sixers got the wrong AD, man.
They got the wrong AD for real. All right, Jay. So last game of the night is we have your home, not your hometown, but your temporary home over there in the 6. We got the Raptors going against the Utah Jazz. So you got taking that one.
I got the Jazz. I think they're playing at they're riding that wave of last night's win. And I just think they're just going to keep it pushing. The on the road too, if I'm correct, the Raptors are going to struggle, especially playing in higher elevation in Utah, but just a great home environment, a home team to play against. So yeah, I got the Jazz in that one.
Yeah, I got the Jazz taking that one too, man. The Jazz has been on a dominant streak, man. After watching that 76ers game, I'm just seeing them just play together as a team, man. And that's what you do to win games, man. So, all right, Jay. Well, we
Yeah.
got a good slate of games coming up.
Yeah, man. No, it's exciting. And then real quick, they're gonna be seeing this the next night, but just for our viewers, who you got, what will be I guess after in that Bucks and or which is tonight. You're gonna be seeing this tomorrow. But who you got in that Bucks and Lakers game that'll be happening tonight?
Man,
what's your prediction on that?
You know, I the Lakers haven't been playing too great, man, but I can't go against them. I can't go against them. And I think AD's feeling a little bit of anger from, that terrible, embarrassing game. I think the Lakers as an overall team is not going to go for that. I mean, we talked about on the last pod, we said the NBA teams don't tend to really, if they make one mistake in one game, they really double back and make sure they get that mistake right the next time. So I'm gonna go with the Lakers on that game. But who you got, Jay?
I think it's gonna be a battle. The Bucks are gonna be at home though, so Giannis I know is gonna be, he's got that target on the back. He knows it. He's ready to defend home court. I'm gonna go with the Bucks in this one. I think it's gonna be a close game. Love seeing AD and Giannis going at it, so I know it's gonna be a good game. I just hope it lives up to the expectations.
Okay, so by the time the fans hear this, they're gonna see if who's wrong, who's right, Jay. They're gonna see who's right, Jay.
Exactly.
All right, man. All right. Well, Jay, this wraps up our episode 2 of Hidden Takes. Great episode, my brother. And for all the fans, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Just talking about some NBA news, some NBA games, and some stuff that we got in our minds. Because honestly, we just two brothers just talking about hoop, man. And we love coming on here on the pod with you guys. So for all the fans, man, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, man. Make sure you smash that subscribe button.
Sub. Yeah. Sub, and we appreciate the support as usual. And yeah, man, NBA basketball is here to stay. Let's get it.
Yes, sir, man. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram, man. It'll be right here and in the description down below. Get at us, man. We out of here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Doses.